You better learn to be a good aunt and not overreact." She laughed as she hung up, dropping her 4-year-old daughter at my door while she flew off to Mexico for vacation. That morning, Sophie was in wrinkled pajamas, clutching half a bottle of apple juice and a single pull-up, while her mother posted bikini photos by the pool on Instagram. I didn't get a single message or call for 2 days, and I knew this wasn't just a short absence. When she finally returned home, she saw the CPS notice taped to her door, her apartment empty, her carefully piled luxury items scattered about, and her smile completely vanished. She screamed, cried, and cursed, but it was useless. All her control, all her excuses, all the rights she thought she had collapsed in that moment. She finally understood that she had utterly lost to reality and the law. That morning, she had dropped Sophie at my apartment in a hurry, without even a hug, carrying a diaper bag that looked like it hadn't been touched in days. Inside was only half a bottle of apple juice, a half-eaten energy bar, and 1 pull-up. I looked up at her, frowning. "At least give me some explanation." "No time," she said bluntly, then vanished down the hallway. At that moment, I knew this wasn't going to be just a normal brief outing. Sophie looked up at me. "Mommy's in a bikini." I froze, almost dropping the crayon in my hand. Her words were casual, but I understood exactly what she meant. I grabbed my phone, heart racing, and opened Instagram. Sure enough, Kelsey had posted photos by a pool, palm trees and blue skies in the background, holding a pink drink, smiling brightly. Tag, Cabo San Lucas. I called her. "Where the hell are you?" She laughed like she was at a bar. "I just deserved a break." "Don't make such a big deal out of it." My fingers froze on the phone, then I said coldly, "You better get a good lawyer." The instant I hung up, a clear resolve settled over me. Years of patience covering for her laziness, cleaning up her messes. This time I wasn't backing down. A few years ago, I thought being an aunt just meant occasionally helping out. Sophie was small, and every time Kelsey forgot to pick her up, I would drive to the daycare, scoop her up, and breathe in the scent of her shampoo, feeling a twinge of guilt for thinking poorly of her mother. She never showed gratitude, always had excuses. Too busy, stressed, tired. In reality, she was out at nightclubs, on Instagram dates, planning trips she couldn't afford, while I was always the one filling in the gaps. I remember one night she left at dawn, dropping Sophie on my couch, leaving me awake all night. The next day I drove her to the dentist, holding the half-asleep little girl in my arms. Kelsey had overslept and didn't know anything about it. I bought birthday presents with her child support money. She told me she was exhausted, working on herself. Over the years, my anger accumulated like a volcano. But I kept it inside because Sophie was innocent. That day, sunlight streamed through the curtains onto the living room floor as I held Sophie, feeling her small weight leaning on me. I realized then that I was no longer just an aunt. I was her shield. Every one of Kelsey's lies, every abandonment, reminded me she wasn't a mother. She was selfish. Looking back over the past 4 years, my life had been almost entirely consumed by Kelsey's chaos. I was forced to step into her role countless times. Picking up, taking care of, comforting, even explaining her daughter's situation. Every phone call made me tense, knowing I'd soon have to deal with her self-centered anger. Once, she was flaunting a vacation on Instagram while Sophie cried alone on my couch wanting her mother. I swallowed my anger, documented the evidence, dates, times, screenshots, without saying a word. That moment made me realize that if I didn't stand up, no one else would fight for Sophie. The potential for justice had been building. Over the years, I learned to collect evidence. Screenshots, texts, photos, recordings. I communicated with all potential daily life witnesses. Daycare, neighbors, Sophie's teachers. Every detail was logged so that if the day came, I could put the facts on the table and act decisively. I also discovered Kelsey's greatest weakness: her reliance on control, lies, and performance to cover laziness. She thought no one was watching, but I was. I knew every evasion, every lie, every staged exhaustion. All of it became my weapon. After the Cabo incident, I acted immediately. I contacted CPS and provided all the evidence: photos, texts, recordings, dates, times, even Sophie's daily routine. The investigation began. Kelsey continued to downplay her behavior casually, but every detail pointed to her neglect and selfishness. When CPS visited her apartment, they found exactly what I expected: an empty fridge, leftover takeout from days ago, piles of clothes and packages, no toys, no child clothes, no toothbrushes, not even a blanket. It was as if a child had never lived there. I felt a calm sense of victory. Next, I contacted Marcus, Sophie's father. Kelsey had blocked him from involvement for years, but he had consistently paid child support and attempted contact. I handed him the evidence, and he immediately organized emails, bank records, and visitation attempts to present to CPS, showing he could and would be a responsible guardian. As the investigation progressed, Kelsey's lies unraveled one by one. Her evasions, false reports, and fake emails, all her attempts to control the situation, were documented. Even her friends began to see the truth, some recording her boastful admissions. She never wanted to be a mother, just used her child for sympathy and money. Those recordings went straight to the court. The court granted Marcus permanent custody. Kelsey was excluded from Sophie's life. She tried harassment via email, fake accounts, and phone calls, but CPS and attorneys logged every action. She lost all control, her crying, threats, and begging accomplishing nothing. When Marcus took Sophie home, her small face lit up with a long missing smile. I watched them go, feeling years of oppression and waiting resolve into peace. Kelsey no longer had any influence over Sophie. Her threats and theatrics had completely failed. Sophie finally had a real home, stability, and love, and Kelsey was left with emptiness and impotent rage. In the end, I realized the revenge wasn't for me. It was to protect the innocent. Every careful record, every precise action, ensured justice was done. Kelsey's arrogance and selfishness met total defeat, while Sophie finally had peace and safety she deserved.